Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, WHENTAYTALK. I am Tay, and I am here for another little episode of. Okay, this might be the last one for the year. Here we go with the bush. Y'all, here we go with the bush. Okay. Now, everything on the channel is alleged in my opinion and for entertainment purposes only. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and also click the bell notification so that you know each and every time your girl upload a new video, okay? Also, click that bell notification, okay? Share the video with family, friends, enemies, frenemies, whomever you like, okay? So, I had to come to y'all today with some of the bullshit that is going on Mr. Monday. Or last night it was Me Monday. Who knows? Yeah, we gotta talk about it. I want to talk about a couple little points. And Dustin, what the fuck do you have going on? Like, Dustin, what you be having going on? Because you our guy, you our voice of reason. But sometimes you be on that bullshit. And the way you talk most of the time, you know what you be talking about. And you make sense. And I'm not saying just if you don't say something that's for Melody or something like that. But with some of the stuff that you say, that because you recognize it when it's happening to somebody else, like, it gives us that you know better. So you shouldn't just recognize these things when it comes to certain people on the show. Like, seriously, like, it's not always about just what your perspective be about Melody. Like, it's your perspective on some other things that, to me, when it don't align with what Carlos wants to happen. Because again, he's using Dustin. Dustin, you can get the fuck off of his shit and blow your own shit up because you make his shows pop. He don't do shit but sit there and let everybody else talk shit or say what he want them to say. So he can keep his old dusty ass hands clean. In my opinion, he a fucking coward. Why he couldn't comment on the Martell interview is beyond me. In my opinion, since the beginning of the episode, y'all know he goes on for about an hour about his love life or lack thereof. Because I think most of the shit be made the fuck up to make the African, not the Mafrican, Martell, okay, akin, allegedly, in my opinion, jealous. So he goes on all these exquisite as detailed stories about his dates and all this shit and him being booed up and outside and all of this shit when again, I just think he just calling himself trying to make the little African jealous, which y'all know I think the African is Martell. And it seemed like they might have made up this weekend. Okay. He wasn't talking about all these stories and all this nasty ass shit this weekend. He wasn't talking about that all in the beginning of the episode. He talked about him being home the whole weekend and he was going to be booed up for New Year's Eve. So him and Martell may have came to that conclusion, allegedly. And then he was going to be vacationing for January or something like that. We going to see where Martell at because y'all know his birthday in January. Let's move on. Okay. But let me bring this up because I want to talk about, let me fast forward it too, because I want to play how Dustin was talking about that young lady in an interview. It surprised me that he was talking like that about her. Because he usually don't like talk about women like that, but he was on one today. Yesterday or whatever, but let's see.
Love and Marriage Huntsville fame, and Arionne Curry, who's the mother to his youngest child. They had a young lady on their live who looked like she was in the witness protection program. And she looked like she was in disguise. Okay, an angel in disguise. She was sitting up there in that white room. Okay, Jasmine, I don't know if you saw it. It was not a set. It was a white room. Now, I know they sell spec homes down there in Huntsville. I know Martell then finally got his paperwork submitted, at least for the licensing he needs.
For the builder license?
To be in a home that would have an empty room like that, where they could set up those stools and those microphones and get it popping like that. So I watched that, and I don't know if y'all had the same takeaway. I'm assuming you both watched, Jasmine. The way you got your eye on shit, I know you saw it. And I just feel like I'm clear now. Right? I feel like I'm clear now. I understand that Martell is right where he belongs with Arionne. They have so much chemistry. Mm-hmm. They both were in the bowels of the internet together the other night, introducing us to some woman who was miscellaneous and anonymous, and they were making fun of her in the screen caps that they used to promote the.
Now, I want to stop him right there, because you said that he was in his zone with him and Slaw. And he was that I'll agree with that. But also, he's been at home getting down and dirty with a couple motherfuckers. And I didn't hear all this critique about him being so fucking disgusting then. Because he was in the trenches with Tasha K to dog the fuck out of Melody earlier this year after he was arrested as a retaliation for his arrest. But nobody talked about how vile that fucking interview was. And Carlos looks like a fucking gopher. Actually, he looks like a possum. But I digress.
Interview body shaming her and shit, saying Marceau has a type, and she was sitting up there.
Slaw and Martell has been body shaming Melody. And since you seems like you're familiar with his social media, you know that they have been. They body shame Tisha. She body shames a lot of people as if her shit is something. But I think she was doing that shit with Tisha because Martell been on her ass this year. The last couple years, Martell has been on Tisha's ass, okay?
Rambling and sputtering and coming up with things. And I just was really, I don't even know if we're supposed to be talking about this shit tonight. You know what I mean? Because we try to stay away from things.
It don't even matter.
It's your show. Rambling and sputtering. Martell been rambling and sputtering this shit about Melody this whole fucking time. And it didn't make no fucking sense. But nobody said shit. Nobody said shit. All they said is they hope they can get to a place where they can fucking film together. Why the fuck do she want to film with this motherfucker that's donning her fucking name? Making her seem like she's some kind of damn slut. Nobody had no words about that. I didn't hear anybody on Carlos's King podcast, on his Messy Monday, Mr. Monday Night, or anything. They didn't have anything to say about that shit. And he was just as vile and fucking disgusting when he caught himself making all them lies and shit up about Melody with no fucking proof. To the point to where, again, for the last damn near 2 fucking years, this cast has known that Martell had that tape out and that it was him in that tape. But for the past 2 years, they have been running around this motherfucker talking about Melody being a hoe and not innocent and all of this shit. And I never seen this outrage from anybody that's been on Carlos King's platform. But now that he's spreading that shit around to the motherfuckers who asked for it, Now it's so fucking disgusting and ridiculous, and he's spewing out bullshit. Y'all didn't even have none of this shit to say when Martell got arrested for harassing communications. He been doing this shit to this girl so bad that she had to fucking put charges on this motherfucker. And this shit just been like, whatever. Y'all ain't had shit to say. But y'all sitting up here laughing about this shit now. And then Carlos King talking about
I just feel like, damn, you know what I mean? Now, if never before, I know that Martell Holt and Arionne are a match made in heaven. They are made for each other. The way that they were in sync and in step down there doing that interview together, I have just my eyes.
He been in hell with that bitch. He been in hell with that bitch. But now you so fucking vocal because he in hell with the Scots now? The ones that was his motherfucking friends before? The ones that had his back and all that shit before?
Are open and I'm clear now. And I just thought it was funny to me of all the things we've been watching Martell on TV. Let's take Arionne out of it because honestly, she's not on the show. To me, it's unfair to discuss her in that context, right? Focusing on Martell, who's a cast member of all the things we've been watching him on TV for many, many years, and we watched Melody depart that marriage and thrive, skyrocket into solo success so much so she changed her name and married her goddamn self on television. Okay, we saw that. We haven't seen any movement with Martell.
You ain't just noticed that this year? He been ain't had no motherfucking movement. But you just said this. You just said this. Let me go back a little bit.
All the things we've been watching Martell on TV. Let's take Arionne out of it because honestly, she's not on the show. To me, it's unfair to discuss her in that context, right? Focusing on Martell, who's a cast member of all the things we've been watching him on TV for many, many years, and we watched Melody depart that marriage and thrive, skyrocket into solo success so much so she changed her name and married her goddamn self on television. You
see, watch Carlos and her face. They don't share the same sentiment. But y'all listen to Dustin. How he just gives, he says, since the marriage, Mel has thrived in like soared. Fly like an eagle.
It's right. Focusing on Martell, who's a cast member of all the things we've been watching him on TV for many, many years, and we watched Melody depart that marriage and thrive, skyrocket into solo success so much so she changed her name and married her goddamn self on television. Okay, we saw that. We haven't seen any movement with Martell, and I just thought it was telling that of all the.
You see her damn face. Like she don't believe it. Really? Thrive? I wouldn't call it that. That's the face that she just made. But you heard Dustin, right? So let's move on to this other little piece.
Did you guys catch up on it?
You know I did. I'm completely caught up. And damn, what an episode. That's all I have to
where would you like to begin?
Yes, go ahead, Dustin, because I feel like you have a lot to get out.
I do, because everybody knows that as we've done commentary on these shows, I have been consistent with my declaration that I don't like no shit between the core six. I just don't like it. I feel like the truce that they called, that the ladies called, right?
See, that's another thing. What do you mean you don't like no shit with the core six? What about when the core five had teamed up against the core one, and which was collectively the six? Like, what was the outrage at then? Because it's been discord with them since Mel and Martell's divorce. Before the divorce, it was 4 against 2. Well, it still was 5 against 1, but one just popped on and off until the divorce. And then it became 5 against 1. So this shit been fucked up in this shit. They ain't never got along. Never.
Right? That trickled down and kind of bled through to the other relationships where they would have transparency with each other, sit down and be adults and talk about shit. I want to see them hold fast to that. And what I saw in tonight's episode just didn't seem like that's what that was. I thought that when Melody and Kimmy talked about the conversations that Melody had with some of the other cast members regarding Maurice's incident, the arrest, the DUI, the allegations of the lipstick, I didn't like seeing her and Kimmy not be able to communicate effectively.
They did communicate effectively. They just didn't, it wasn't a communication that Kimmy wanted. She just didn't get the desired outcome. Melody saying, I don't believe that he didn't have lipstick on his lips, or I don't believe that he was out cheating, or none of that. Kimmy was pissed because Mel said, no, bitch, I don't want to talk about it because you already heard how I feel about it. You didn't hear from me because when I wanted to talk to you about it, you didn't want to talk about it, or you couldn't talk about it. And I let that shit go. I let it go. I didn't pressure you for the shit. But that didn't mean that I was not going to fucking talk about it, because I am. And I have every right to talk about it. It's on the show. Just like when we was going around talking about Kiki and the Home Depot shit. Or like when we met up and we was talking about Martell being arrested for the fuck shit he had did. That y'all already knew about, but said in my motherfucking face and acted like y'all didn't. Can we revisit some transparency on that shit? And come to a fucking common ground on that shit? That's the real conversation these motherfuckers need to be having next season. Since all this shit planning the reunion already had been done.
In that setting. I felt like Kimmy was trying to be clear and kind of have a certain dialogue with Melody that Melody was resistant to, because Melody felt like she had already approached Kimmy to discuss this, and Kimmy was resistant in that conversation. I think Melody perceived Kimmy's inability to discuss some of the, specific.
It wasn't her case. It wasn't an inability. She was like, was it really in the middle of the day? The arrest, that was on public record. But the inability with that is that some of his friends said it didn't happen that time, that it happened another time. So why are they at liberty to say what time he actually was arrested and all this type of shit? But Melanie can't ask questions about it because it conflicts with what the arrest record said. And another thing that I forgot to mention is that when, of course, we know that now that Mark Reese allegedly claims that he did a citizen's arrest on himself. He arrested himself because no one else was present, per him on the episode last week. With that situation being as it was, he said that Funky Dinevenham said that he was not arrested at that time. That he actually, like, then how did they know what time he was arrested? Why did he have to call Kimmy from jail and not them? Why they didn't call Kimmy and tell them that Maurice had been arrested if they knew what time he was arrested? And then why is it that they know details of the shit, but Kimmy couldn't talk about it? She wasn't there. So whatever she said was hearsay as well. Or whatever. They can't pull her in court because she wasn't there. And it's clear from the episodes too that he wasn't leaving her and went out driving or whatever the case may be because she said she was at home. So if he had actually got arrested at, like Funky Dinevenham said, 4:00 in the morning, which per her is his regular time that he would be strolling his raggedy ass in the motherfucking house, then why didn't they call Kimmy at 4:00? Why did she have to wake up and go looking for him if they knew that he had got locked up at 4:00 in the morning? What were they trying to hide from that?
Big details related to the arrest as her kind of putting the wall up. And so Melody kind of, it seems that Melody felt like, well, I tried, to come to you with it. And that was kind of her disposition where she was resistant to continue the conversation. But it's a give and take. And in order to sustain relationships, we have to see a little bit more giving on both ends in order to make that move forward. So I really hope that after whatever we see at the reunion, and after the emotions have kind of settled from watching that those two ladies specifically can find a bridge, to reconnect with each other, because that's one relationship. Melody and Letitia have had very, real and blatant issues, tangible issues. Melody and Marceau have had their issues. Melody and Maurice have had conversations where they had to clear things up. But Melody and Kimmy, for the most part, up until now, we have seen them keep things at a certain level, right? They have not,
Yeah, Kimmy don't like Melody until she needs something from her, or Maurice pressures her, because I don't think that if Maurice didn't pressure Kimmy because he wants her to keep that connect with Melody, because Kimmy cannot stand Melody either, but she can save face and just, like, be cordial with her for the sake of keeping that business connect to her. So if Maurice wouldn't like pressure her to do certain stuff with Melody to get information or get connects, I don't think Kimmy would even do that.
Going below a certain level, I didn't like seeing it because I really love both of them on this show.
They didn't go a certain level. Melody said what she said and Kimmy said what she said. It was the end of the fucking discussion. Just because Kimmy looked like a fucking fool, because how the fuck you more mad at me than you was at your fucking husband for embarrassing the fuck out of your ass? But they're not talking about none of this with embarrassment when it comes to Kimmy or Maurice.
So I hope they figure it out. I did like the way the conversation ended when Melody said, your feelings matter. This conversation matters. And you don't have to hear that from anybody else that I said anything else pertaining to these details moving forward.
And that's another thing. Melody told her, your feelings matter. This conversation matter. Nothing that she got when she told Maurice that her grandmother was killed with a drunk driver. She didn't get any of that shit. She didn't get nothing. Nothing.
That's all you ask for at the end of the day is the end result, but I would have liked to see a friendlier path to that if possible. As far as Marquez, a bunch of the same. You know what I'm saying? Sitting up, blaming everybody else for everything else that's going on, is getting old and tired. I know Trisha is sick of it, and now we know why Trisha just be looking at motherfuckers in the scene like, now we know, because she has had it. How many conversations can you take? It's just getting ridiculous at this point, because there's nothing to be said other than the fact that you left your family. Okay, if the relationship between Marquez and Trisha didn't work out, damn it, it didn't work out. But you abandoned your post as a present father, facilitating the lives of your children, and you left.
Why they don't ever say Maurice left his family? Because Maurice's son was much younger when him and Kyra broke up or whatever, and he moved to Alabama. Did he leave his family when he was sleeping on his brother's couch in Alabama? And his family was up here in Michigan? Now that's far, far away. So Maurice, you actually left your family and abandoned your family too. And it don't seem like you wanted to get his motherfucking ass until you was getting ready to marry Kimmy ass, because you ain't want Kiowa ass to be getting no fucking child support. I don't think what the fuck your slick ass was up to, you old lemon lime head ass bastard.
Left those responsibilities in the hands of another man who picked them up and did them well. Okay, Ken has shown himself to be nothing but a positive influence on them children's lives.
Ken ain't no positive influence on shit, because he think that he's a guy sent to them, as if Shaboing Boing ain't done shit, or as if Marquez ain't done shit for the whole time that they was together. You can't come in and Shaboing Boing said on Mila Chine's live that she didn't interview that she didn't introduce the kids to Ken until, what you say, like a year and a half, 2 years. But y'all say y'all been together for like 2.5 years, almost 3 years. So in only, let's say, max a year that he's been around the kids, now he's this saving grace and this fucking picture perfect ass father of the year. He ain't put in enough motherfucking time to be getting these type of accolades.
Okay, they stopping you from your bullshit. That Trisha's son, who looked just like her, they have beautiful children, by the way, Trisha and Marquez. When her son walked over there, and he said, "Dad, come on, man, why are you over there talking to him like that?" I don't have.
He did that because he like, they don't give a fuck about what you talking about, Dad. And he just didn't want, because he already know he a damn crybaby.
I have no kids, but if my son said some shit like that to me, that would have been a wake-up call. That would have rung my bell. You know what I'm saying? It made me be like, whoa, I'm tripping. Let me recalibrate all this shit up in here, starting with going to the store and getting some paper towel and cups and ice and liquor for that party that he was drinking up and enjoying and had came in with his palms up and friends. So there's just some resetting that needs to take place with that whole Marquez and Trisha Ken relationship. And I was watching the conversation go down the same way Ken's mama and sister was sitting at the table, like the camera cut right to them ladies sitting at their table. Just, that's how I was watching it too.
That's if that was his mom and damn sister. And another thing is, why would y'all even do all of that shit there while he was there? Why did Ken feel a need to even have a conversation with Marquez? Y'all had already talked. So why did you feel a need to pull him to the side and have a conversation with him any damn way? They wanted to make a scene. And Shaboing Boing was drunk as well. And they her and Marquez both are a mess. And then Ken always coming in talking about telling Shaboing Boing to stop. No, let her say what the fuck she gotta say since they already into it. She the one that need to be saying something to him, not your ass. You want to be able to say something to him like you hear her his damn baby mama. Shit.
Dustin and his impressions always sit me over.
They're always so funny.
Jazz, it sits me over the edge. Okay, know that. Jasmine, what's your take? Because Jasmine has been in and out of Huntsman for a minute. So did you catch up with this episode?
I did. So I have major feelings about like the Melody and Kimmy conversation, and Millimeters, please don't crucify me for this, right? Melody has a way of communicating.
You gonna get crucified whether it's a millimeter or fucking not. Your beetle looking ass.
With people, and I've said, Carlos, I think I've told you this, that I've picked up on this with her from like the very first season. Is very like nice, nasty, and passive aggressive, right? And so
she's not nice, nasty. She is blunt and to the point. She's a straight shooter, and people don't like that because I can tell you how I feel. No matter how cruel you might take it, no matter how it is, like I can give you a hard truth with a smile on my face. Like, I think that's a Scorpio / Sagittarius trait. And like I said, since my birthday is close to Scorpio, I think that's part of my Scorpio tendencies that I have is that, like, I say stuff to people or I ask them stuff and sometimes they be so damn offended and I don't be thinking shit of it. Like, what's the fucking point? Like, what's the problem? Like, they're like, oh, you mean? Like, if somebody say something, like, when you're direct, people have a problem with it. If you ask me, like, oh, Tay, can you mop the kitchen floor? If I can mop the kitchen floor, I'm going to say yes. If I can't, I'm going to say no. And I'm just going to say no. I'm not going to say, I can't right now, but maybe later, maybe I might can. No, it's just no. And people think I mean when I do stuff like that. Like, no, that's the answer. It's just no. Like, you ask me, I'm answering it. It's no, I cannot. No. I'm not giving you any more fluff. I'm not giving you a hint. I'm not teasing you with the fact that I maybe can. It's no. That's it. No. Like, this guy just texted me something and he was like, well, send me some, whatever. And I was just like, no. And he was like, stop being mean. And I'm like, being mean how? I'm not doing it. I'm not sending you shit. No. Wow, well, what happened? Did I do something? No, you didn't do shit. I just answered your question. No. Like, just take it as that. That's it. It's no. Let's move on. Any other questions? Like, it's just no. So don't take her being direct as being nice, nasty. No. Just because you can't take that shit. People don't like people that's direct. They like people pussyfooting around and playing around with words with them and all that type of shit. No, when you get a hard motherfucking answer, yes or no, if I say yes, I'm doing it. If I say no, I'm not. That's it. It ain't no in between. That's it. So that's not being nice, nasty. It's being fucking direct, which these motherfuckers need, because when she play nice, nasty with them motherfuckers, they take advantage of the shit. They take advantage of it, and they take that niceness for a weakness. And then when that bitch get nasty on them, then they fucking hurt. And they upset. We don't give a fuck. Because when you took my fucking kindness for a weakness, it was all good. But when I turn bitch and get gangster with your ass and direct, now you hurt. Cry me a river.
Like it puts people on a defensive, because they're like, why? Like, you know that you did this thing or you said this thing, and I'm.
How would you accusing me of doing something put you on a damn defensive? How would that put you on defensive? You asking me questions about something. How the fuck would that put you on a defensive?
Like confronting you head on about it, and you're just sitting there like, right? Or you're dodging the question, and that makes people.
She didn't dodge the question, and she was just sitting there. The was her agreement with what she was saying that she had heard that she said. She never denied that she said those things. What she actually did was confirm it even more at the end of it when she told her, "You won't hear it again from nobody else, from me about the lipstick." What she did also, too, was confirmed it in her response to her. I'm not talking about that with you because you've already heard how I felt from the people that told you what the fuck I said, which is so fucking ironic to me because you got a fucking problem with me talking about your shit with them. How you know what the fuck I said to them if y'all motherfuckers weren't talking about me? Like, how does that make sense? You coming and talking shit to me about something I said to somebody else while you was talking to that somebody about me? How that work?
Well, like really, really defensive. And so like you said, Dustin, I didn't like to see where her and Kimmy were with that conversation because I felt like Kimmy was really trying to get somewhere and Melody wasn't. Yeah. It's the same thing with that conversation that Melody was having with Maurice. It was like really accusatory, but then when he was just like, why are you?
What do you mean it was accusatory? She expressed how she felt about the situation. She didn't accuse him of any fucking thing. The law accused him of it. He was arrested for something. So that accusation actually came from the police report and the mugshot. And what the officer, himself said, because he said no one was there. So again, he did a citizen's arrest. So all that information came from him. He suspected his own self of fucking drinking or driving under the influence. How was it accusatory? She didn't say, you had your drunk ass out there driving and my grandmother was passed away from her getting killed by a drunk driver. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. She told him, I was very disappointed and at your actions after the shit. She didn't say shit about him drinking and driving or the accusation. She said she felt like it was irresponsible of his actions after that shit. And he should be fucking embarrassed. And he should be ashamed of his fucking actions. Carlos should be ashamed of his actions. His wife should be ashamed of his motherfucking actions. You, Beetle, should be ashamed of his fucking actions.
You're doing this. It's like, I'm not doing that. Like throwing the rock and hiding your hands within the same conversation. And it's just like, Mel, if you would just like take accountability in the moment, the conversation.
Take accountability for what? What was it for her to take accountability for? Because she accounted that she had said the shit because you heard how I felt. What they said was true. That's how I felt. So when was they going to take accountability for how his actions were after that arrest? It's not throwing a rock and hide your hand. They just told her what the fuck she said. And if you think for one motherfucking moment that Melody don't know any fucking thing that she said to Tisha will get back to the rest of the fucking Scotts, you got another thing coming. Melody knows exactly what she said. She said the shit while it's fucking recording. So how the fuck is she throwing a rock and hiding her fucking hand?
Conversations will go much smoother. I feel like that's how a lot of these conversations on Huntsville in particular.
No, they will go smoother if she would allow them to play in her motherfucking face and let them gaslight the fuck out of her and make their situation something again they're trying to put on to fucking her for talking about it instead of addressing the real shit, the fucking actions from the situation. Because if you want to talk to me about the fucking situation, then bitch, let's talk. Let's talk about why the fuck he didn't come home that night. Why the fuck you wasn't up calling his ass that night? Let's talk about all of that. Why the fuck did his lips look so fucking red in that mugshot? Did you know who he was with? Did you know where he was coming from? Did you know where he was at all night? Then let's talk about all of that. We're not going to talk about me talking about it.
Get blown out of proportion is because somebody within the conversation doesn't want to take accountability right in the moment, and it turns into something else. And so that's like what I witnessed. But I think that Mel, to her credit, she's gone through so much on this show. Like, she's been embarrassed beyond, right? I would not wish what she's gone through on my worst enemy.
This don't have nothing to do with what the fuck Melody has gone through on this motherfucking show. Dustin, shut the fuck up. What do you mean that's it? That ain't fucking it. Why the fuck can it just be this motherfucker got arrested for a DUI? His lips looked at fucking pink and red as fuck. Looked like smeared ass lipstick. Why can't we just go with that? What's the problem with that? It don't have nothing to do with her past hurt, her past traumas, not shit that happened to her on the show, because we talking about what's going on right motherfucking now. And what's going on right motherfucking now is we talking about this DUI shit. And what's wrong with it? Why they can't talk about the DUI without talking about her past shit? We ain't talking about her shit. We talking about they shit now. Because when we was talking about my shit, I was talking about that shit with y'all. I was open and transparent with y'all. Y'all didn't have to, even though y'all did, y'all still talked about it amongst each other. Just like y'all was having a conversation about why I ain't had those questions that was Shaboing Boy in fucking St. Thomas. Why they weren't saying that? Why Kimmy ain't come and talk to her about that? What they were just talking about with that. What the fuck that got to do with anything? And then also too, they always trying to bring her past up to her to throw it in her motherfucking face when she didn't even do shit.
Right. Well, maybe my worst enemy, but he's been through a lot. Listen, I try not to, but my worst enemy. Oh,
yeah, I don't get mad.
all the drama, right? Okay, yeah. But yeah, she's been through so much, and she's been embarrassed to no end on the show.
She haven't been embarrassed to no end on the show. Martell isn't the embarrassment. Why do y'all keep saying that? What does she have to be embarrassed about? He's the fucking embarrassment. Like, y'all just got through talking about him and the shit he just did to the Scots and shit like that this past weekend and how embarrassing that shit was. So are y'all saying that the Scots are embarrassed, or is that Martell being embarrassed? He's the embarrassment. She hasn't done shit to be embarrassed by. The video they had, the picture they done seen, the video they done seen is her sucking her husband's dick. I'm quite sure all of them suck their husband's dick. There's nothing to be embarrassed about it. He should have been embarrassed for showing it. And they should have been embarrassed for looking at it. So why ain't nobody? What about Maurice's embarrassment? Are y'all talking about how embarrassed Kimmy is because of Maurice's actions, or should he be fucking embarrassed? We skipping over embarrassments from them? Because they also have been embarrassed on this motherfucking show. Some by the hands of Martell too then. Since we're going to be on embarrassment.
I think that there's a little part of her when it's someone else's turn to be embarrassed. There's like a little bit of like, okay, I like amplify this the way that my embarrassment has been amplified. And I'm not saying that she's a bad person. I think that
because she's not a bad person, whether you say it or not. That's another thing. And good point, bitch. Good point, Jazz. Because why isn't their embarrassing moments amplified like hers was? It's given that you were trying to embarrass her. Because why isn't none of this other shit amplified like her shit was? Or like Kiki's shit was? Or like Tiffany and Lou shit was? And I got a video coming for y'all too about this too. But why wasn't any of that shit amplified? So this right here is showing that, Carlos, once again, your production team, since you're the president of this shit, you guys are showing motherfucking biases and favoritism with this shit. Is discriminatory in nature, because you are not spreading the shit amongst every motherfucking body. Because this shit should have been plastered around and everybody should have been talking in detail, just like they did with Kiki and just like they did with Melody. Even though Martell was the one that did the motherfucking wrongs, he should have been the shit that's amplified. But yet you focused on putting shit off on Melody to try to embarrass and shame her into some shit about some shit that she didn't fucking do.
That's a very human reaction for somebody who's gone through the things that she's gone through. But that's like what I pick up a lot on with Mel. And so I know like when Maurice was talking about her getting her healing and stuff, he wasn't sincerely saying it. I really do feel like that's what I want from Mel. Like I want her to truly like be healed of like every.
How the fuck you know she not truly healed? And first of all, even if she not, how can she be with the way that y'all motherfuckers keep throwing this shit up in her motherfucking face and making it a reason or an excuse for every fucking thing that she do when it has nothing to do, one has nothing to do with the other. Because like Dustin just said earlier, this motherfucker got away from Martell and has fucking soared, thrived. Broken people don't do that. Broken people sit here and do like y'all do and deflect from the real situation and throw motherfucking shit out on motherfuckers. That's your motherfucking feelings. That's your motherfucking intentions. It don't have shit to do with her. Just like with Kimmy, your anger is directed at the wrong motherfucker. Your anger is directed at the wrong motherfucker.
Everything and be able to have these people to lean on. Go ahead.
No, it's just so the Melody conversation is so interesting because it's such a nuanced conversation, right? I feel like we know what happened, right? Like Martell cheated on Melody, publicly embarrassed her, told lies on the show, all that shit happened. And that was a very clear point.
So all what just happened, that happened, told lies on her. What she got to be embarrassed about? Because at this point, she's vindicated, right? Because I didn't hear when Tisha made that revelation the other week, I didn't hear Dustin, I didn't hear Carlos saying Mel has been vindicated. Mel, sorry that we even, was saying anything about you in a negative capacity as far as being promiscuous or anything, because now we know, or we knew then, that that was not true. But they fed into it all that time.
And that was a very clear marker, timestamp in her life. I think that after that, people on the show may have attempted to exhibit some sort of fairness in the world.
They didn't attempt to do no fucking fairness, Dustin. Call that shit how it is, Dustin. You know what it is. They picked a side. When they knew they had the information, like Maurice just said at that table, that Mel was like, you know, you came off as level-headed, whatever. And he like, yeah, one that would get all the information and make a decision on that. Yeah, so that means that you had the information about that fucking revenge piece shit, and yet your motherfucking ass still was around here with the shits with every fucking body else with that shit, talking about Melody. That's why you got this fucked up ass attitude with her now. Because what has she done to you? And Martell told y'all motherfuckers, if I feel like y'all hurt me, I'm hurting y'all motherfuckers. He told y'all that shit flat the fuck out. And yet you still trying to take up for this motherfucker. You still ain't got shit to say about this motherfucker.
But they had to figure out how to still work with everybody. And I think that may have been received by her as some sort of betrayal. And when you've been wrong, Blake,
they didn't have to try to figure out how to work with everybody, because they could have still worked with him and still held his ass accountable for the shit that he was doing, the fuck shit that he was doing. He was on that bullshit constantly. And y'all knew that shit.
Blatantly wronged by somebody, and you see other people who have an opportunity to kind of take a side, but
not kind of take a side, but have your fucking back, because you know what the fuck this motherfucker is doing is wrong. And you know that this is not shit that you would want done in you, because now that he's doing that shit to y'all, y'all don't like it. Y'all don't fucking like it. And this is why this shit is happening to them, because this is something too that they can't put on Martell. The DUI shit, they can't put that shit on Martell. So this ain't something that he just lying about or he just created or nothing like that, or whatever. He ain't got no proof and all that. This is something that is a hard motherfucking fact that he was arrested for this, and this is to the forefront. This is out here. So it's free for us to talk about it. We can't blame Martell for putting it out or nothing.
May not take it in a way that is egregious toward you or the other person. Sometimes people just seek neutrality and try to maintain it. Sometimes that can build up resentment. And we see
they didn't do that. And they was not neutral. They were not neutral.
See Melody in situations where I wish that sometimes there would be a conversation where she would just say, look, when I went through all this shit with Martell, there was an opportunity for you to really hold me down and kind of identify his wrongdoing and support me. And I don't feel like you did it, and it hurt my feelings. And
it did more than hurt her motherfucking feelings, motherfucker. So now when y'all need me to support and all this, and I can shut the fuck up about some of the shit y'all got going on, I'm not. Because when y'all had the opportunity to shut the fuck up about shit I had going on, y'all didn't. Or that the motherfucker was spreading about me, instead of fucking shutting the fuck up because y'all knew that shit wasn't fucking right, or that he was lying. Y'all chose to spread that shit, and y'all chose to fucking throw gasoline on the fucking fire instead of trying to put that shit out. So fuck all y'all.
Making it hard for me to show up fully in this friendship. That would clear up a whole lot of stuff. So I understand Melody.
She ain't got to tell them that. She ain't got to tell them that.
You know what I mean? And but as a viewer of the show, and as just a human being, grown ass man, sometimes you do have to bend a little bit when the sustainability.
This bitch will be fucking bent until to break her fucking back. How fucking much do you want her to fucking bend? These bitches have literally tried to destroy her. What the fuck you mean, bend? For the fucking show. What do you think she's doing? Do you think as a regular person out here that this would be some shit that you would even be able to beat a fuck around in a regular fucking life? Around motherfuckers and their fucking husbands that seen you in a compromising fucking intimate position? And that kept they fucking mouth closed when that motherfucker said he was gonna release that shit? When y'all already knew how fucking unhinged he was? Y'all knew how fucking unhinged he was. So he was liable to do any fucking thing. He threatened to release that shit a couple fucking times. And y'all motherfuckers didn't say shit. So at that point, even if you were saying to him, it's time to tell me, like, look, this motherfucker got this shit, and I don't know if he gonna release it or not. And I don't want your kids or you to have to experience that shit. They didn't give a fuck. They didn't give a fuck. And guess who don't give a fuck now? We don't. All right. So y'all, that's all I got right now. I'll see y'all tonight on Gossip Girls. We still probably gonna go at 7. I'll see y'all then. Okay. Until next time, like the video, subscribe to the channel, y'all. Bye.
Oh my gosh. Ew.
Hold on, 20.
Huh?
Hold on, 20. Hold on.
What'd you say?
I said, hold on, 20. Hold on.